And so, today's class, we're going to do kind of like a mastermind on fear. Like fear doesn't really go away, but I want participation from everybody because I think that it's going to be better if you participate. I just finished the Spanish speaking session and everybody participated. Okay. So let's think about this for a second. Fear wasn't born with you. Fear was taught, inherited, and fed since you were a child. Because I don't know if you guys remember, I want you guys to tell me if you have kids, this is also applicable, but either when you were a kid or if you've seen kids, have you seen that they're not really afraid of anything? Like you jump really high without being scared of falling. I've seen a lot of videos on Instagram of like babies that they just roll and it looks like they just broke every bone in their body, but they didn't. Like they don't really have that fear. And I don't know, you jump, you try, you explore a lot of things without worrying if you're going to get hurt or if it's gonna work or not. You guys, were you like that as a kid? Were you that kind of kid that always went crazy and moved and did everything? Or do you know, or you have kids that are like that? Let me know in the chat. Again, this is gonna be really depending on your participation. If I don't see participation, then I'll just go straight forward, which is kind of sad because I'm not really just speaking to anybody. I'm just giving yeah, mastermind pretty much. I wanted this to be a little bit of participation. Demetrius says, yes, I see it with the kids. And imagine you as a parent, you worry about your kid, right? You're like, oh, be careful because you're gonna break your bones and this and that. But as you grew up, you know, people always start saying, be careful, that's dangerous. What if you fail? And little by little, your brain creates a connection. Failure equals pain, rejection, or shame. So when you start, and when we were kids, we start hurting, hey, be careful. Hey, that's dangerous. Hey, don't do this. Be careful, be careful, be careful. And so what is that, did to our brain? It just created the fear of doing something. Okay. My parents did create that fear on me. Like, I'm not saying they're a bad person or bad people, but as I was a kid growing up, I always heard my mom, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful with, simple things that kids always do. So for me, it created that fear. And so since then, every time you're about to make an important decision in trading, in business, or in life, your mind reacts exactly like it did when you were a child. It tries to protect you. That's why when you're in front of the charts or the meta trader and you see a perfect setup, your brain isn't analyzing the market. It's analyzing your self-worth. It's testing whether you can handle the pain of losing. And I think that's the most important part on trading. Like trading isn't really about analyzing the market or like making all this super fancy annotations or responses into what the market is doing. It's really analyzing your self-worth. It's analyzing yourself, whether you can handle the pain of losing or not. And I think that a lot of people never get their potential in trading because they're always thinking of the fear of losing. And let's be honest, everybody goes through that. Everybody goes through that. You double think and then the trade just went away without you. And then you enter in a different position that you shouldn't, and then you start losing because you enter too late. So it's always testing you guys. It's always testing whether you can handle the pain of losing. Now, fear in trading isn't fear of the market. If you're afraid of trading, That's not you being afraid of the market. Now, listen carefully. You're not afraid of the market. You're afraid of what the market might make you feel. Afraid of feeling stupid if you lose. Afraid of being judged by others. Afraid of losing money and feeling that you're not good enough. Afraid that history will repeat itself, just like the last time you failed on another business or another opportunity you did. But here's the truth. The market doesn't have emotions. It doesn't love you or hate you. The market simply reacts or reflects your emotions or reflects your internal state. A lot of people can have favorite pairs, but you can never say, oh, gold loves me or gold hates me because gold doesn't love you or hate you. Gold doesn't even care about you. He doesn't know you exist. But what the market really cares is the reflection of your internal state, the reflection of your emotions. If you are very emotional right now, that's what you're going to reflect in the market. So let's do a psychological example of this. And I like to think about an example I heard last week. And for me, it was like here, let me think about it in English because I have it in Spanish. But let's see. Okay, let's imagine you are a pilot. Let's imagine you're a pilot. You fly planes for a living. Do you think that pilots say, "Oof, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna take off because the clouds look weird. I'm not gonna go." That's an emotion, right? But a pilot doesn't really do that. They follow a protocol. They follow their plan. He sits down, he looks, it's like, okay, are we seeing this kind of clouds? Are we seeing this kind of movement? Let's see what the protocol says and take action. The pilot won't just say, those clouds look pretty weird. I'm not taking off. They don't base it on an emotion. They base it on a protocol and they take action. And as a trader, you also have a protocol. That's your trading plan. When you follow it, you're not trading to win or lose money. You're trading to execute correctly. So think about that for a second. When you enter the market, how many times do you enter thinking, oh, I'm going to make $100 or I'm going to lose $100? I'm pretty sure everybody always think about the money. But what you really should start thinking is, I'm entering to execute correctly according to my protocol. And that's what's going to give you the real courage, following your protocol. Because if you pay attention to the money, that's where you start failing even more. Okay. Now let's talk about reframing that fear. Let's change the internal dialogue, the old mindset. I'm scared of losing, and let's put the new one. This fears means I'm growing. And I want you guys to pay attention to this one because this was my favorite part that I spoke with the Spanish speaking people. But fear is not a warning sign. It's an indicator of expansion. Every time you feel fear, it means you are stepping out of survival mode and into growth mode. And my question to you guys is, what are some things that you're fear of? Like, I don't know, there's people that have fear of dogs, spiders, fear of losing a loved one, fear of death. I don't know. There's so many fears, things that we're scared of. But what are some, things that scare you guys? I wanna get to know you. A lot of the Spanish speaking people just said dogs, spiders, snakes, losing a loved one, and those were the top four. Those were the top four for them. Well, what about you guys? What are you guys scared of? Could be in trading or could be in life in general. Okay, the fear of heights, losing your loved ones. What else? Getting sick. That's me. That's me. That's me. Stuck in a bad situation, not being good enough. Okay. Now let's think about your fear for a second. Do you think your fear should be a sign of expansion? I'm gonna give you guys a story of a fear, not of mine, but a fear of somebody in my group. One guy, he is or he was scared of heights. And the first time that I met him in a retreat, I paid for a helicopter ride for everybody in my team. And that guy, he said, I'm not gonna go because I'm scared of heights. And even though it's a helicopter, it's kind of like a plane, it's still very scary for people that are scared of heights. And so I said, that's okay. But then I still paid for his ticket. And then when it was time to, sign the acknowledgement and, get ready to depart, and we were creating the groups that were going in the helicopter, I said, all right, John, that's his name. John, you're going with so and so and so. And he was like, what? I thought I wasn't going. And I said, no, you are. And then he didn't have any choice other than getting on the helicopter and going very high. After the helicopter, um, he was so happy. Like he said, I felt fear for the first 5 minutes, going up and all that. But then after that, he was able to enjoy, which means expansion, enjoy of beautiful sights, beautiful nature, and he was able to enjoy the rest of the ride. So that was the first one. Now, second, we had another retreat last month in Colombia, and he went to that retreat. And instead of paying for a helicopter, I paid for paragliding. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's jumping up a mountain with a parachute with somebody behind you. It's not jumping out of a helicopter or a plane. No, not parachuting. It's paragliding. And John, this time he said, I'm ready to do it. I'm still scared of heights, or I still fear the heights, but I'm gonna give it a try. And so, why am I telling you these things? Because I want you guys to think of fear as an indicator of expansion. And if we talk about the fear of heights, you know, there's so much beautiful things you can see from the sky than sitting in your car or sitting in your home. You can go through a mountain and see beautiful things, but you can also expand, again, indicator of expansion, your views once you're in the sky. And so John, he jumped with the guy, of course, with the professional, paragliding for 15 minutes. He said that that was the best experience he ever had. And so what I want you guys to take from this part right here is that, every time you feel fear, it means you're stepping out of the survival mode into growth mode if you let it happen. I feel like all the fears that we were put since we were kids, it could be, from little traumas It could be from your parents telling you that, be careful. All of that, it's an indicator that you need to get closer to that fear. If you fear trading, that means you need to get closer to trading. If you fear of jumping into a trade because of losing, that means you need to jump into the trade without thinking it twice. You need to break that fear by doing that scares you. So when you trade from comfort, you stay the same. But when you trade with respect for the risk, but still take action, you expand. That's when you start spending your account. So don't reject fear, use it, be grateful for it, because it reminds you that you're standing in a place most people will never have the courage to reach. And I feel like that's where John is sitting right now. He's standing in a place most people will never have the courage to reach. Okay? Now, to finish, guys, a visual example of this, picture two traders, trader A and B. The trader A analyzes, hesitates, feels fear, closes the charts, and said, I'll enter tomorrow. I'll trade tomorrow. But trader B analyzes, feels fear, but breathes, checks, his risks, follows his plan, and executes. It's okay to feel fear, but it's not okay to live in fear. And so if you're that type of trader that every time you're going to take a trade, you are shaking, you start breathing pretty fast. If you're really scared of entering the market, what you need to do is just acknowledge you have the fear. Do some breathing exercises, guy. If you want to go to YouTube, you'll find so many breathing exercises. Do those. Make sure you're risking correctly and follow your freaking plan. And click that button of buy or sell. That's it. Click the button after you do all this. Okay? Both traders are allowed to feel fear, trader A and B, but only one moves forward. A successful trader is not the one who feels the fear, but the one who learns to trade through fear and still do what's right. Okay? Now, to finish, I just want to leave you guys with something to think about. In a journal, if you're following a journal, or in your head, next time that you trade, next time you do a session, just write in your journal or meditate about this, and think about what exactly I'm afraid of when I trade. Why is it that every time I take a trade, I feel fear? So what exactly I'm afraid of? Don't answer it in the chat. Don't answer it. But just think about it and write it in your journal. Be brutally honest. For example, I'm afraid of lose because I don't want to disappoint people. That's a pretty common one. Okay, then ask yourself, what if this fear is a sign that I'm on the right path? Because remember, fear is a sign or indicator of expansion. So after you ask yourself that question, and before your next trade, repeat the following phrase. I don't control the outcome. I control my execution. And that's something that you need to do and learn and say and live every time you're going to do trading. I don't control the outcome. I control my execution. And if it doesn't go the right way, if I lose it, I still control my execution, which means I control my risk and I control the buy and sell, the decision. Okay? I don't control the outcome. Because remember, there's a lot of things in trading that don't really depend on us. It depends on freaking Trump. If he tweets something, if he says something dumb, That doesn't depend on you. That depends on a random thing. So you don't really control the outcome, you control the execution. And do this exercise for 2 weeks. Ask yourself what exactly I'm afraid of when I trade. Then ask yourself, what if this fear is a sign that I'm on the right path? And if your fear is disappointing people, just remember the following thing I learned. If you ever been in a plane, I'm pretty sure you heard this. If you didn't, then it's time that you start changing the plane that you use because it's a security measure. And so when you're in the plane and you're about to take off, they always explain the safety, things you need to do in case of emergencies. And one of them is in case of rough air and that you lose oxygen, then oxygen mask will fall from the panel above you. And then what do they tell you? You need to put your mask first before helping the person next to you. Because if you don't put your oxygen mask first, you're not going to be able to help the person next to you. Or if you help them, it's going to be too late for you because you're going to run out of oxygen. So what does that tell you? We are not here to disappoint people. We are here to help ourselves first. Because if you put the mask of oxygen first, if you focus on yourself first, if you focus on growing as a person, getting a closer relationship with God, doing better in trading, if you focus on yourself first, you're going to be able to help put the mask on other people. But first, it has to come with you. That's how I learn it, guys. I first focus on me, then I go help others. A lot of people, we want to help, kids that are hungry. We want to help the elderly. We want to help everybody, but we can't really help them if we don't help ourselves first. Once we help ourselves, we can go and do everything that we wanted to do. So just remember, guys, it's not really about disappointing people. It's about focusing on yourself, and then you can help uplift others that are next to you. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Remember to sign up for the class, and this session is recorded. So anytime you want to watch this, you can go ahead and rewatch it again. Thank you guys. And Corinne and Patrick, please message me on Instagram so I can give you guys the PDF. Okay. See you guys. Bye bye.